YouTube, this is Michigan Snow Pony or Renee, and this video is on canning chicken. This is our local grocery store's weekly flyer. They're having 10 pounds of split chicken breast for $10, $1 a pound. I don't have a big freezer, so if I want to take advantage of this sale in a big way, I need to do something else besides freezing the meat, and canning is what I'm going to do. And I've already purchased my chicken, so let's get started. You always can meat in a pressure canner. It's a low acid food, so you cannot use a water bath safely. And the first thing you're going to do is fill your canner with about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of water, add a little bit of vinegar, and that will keep your jars from getting cloudy. If you're on well water like we are with lots of minerals in the water, as you can see in my canner, your jars are going to get cloudy. So if you add the vinegar, just a little dollop or two, that will help. Okay, I've got my chicken breasts cut up. I'm ready to pack them in the jars. We're going to be putting about a teaspoon or a little less in each jar with the chicken. You're not going to be putting any liquid in, just the meat, because as it cooks in the canner, it's going to make its own juice. I've also got the lids I'm going to be using sitting in some hot water. Maybe you can't see, but it's steaming hot water, just to help prime those seals. So I'm going to go ahead and pack my chicken in, and let's just see how full to get the jars. You want them fairly full. A pint will hold about a pound of meat. And you know, I'm using chicken, but you can also do this with pork, and you can use it with beef cubes or even corned beef. The raw pack works. The only time you don't really or can't really use it, or if you can, I don't know what the technique is with ground beef. Usually you always cook your ground beef before you can it. Okay, I've got my jars filled. I've added my salt. And now what I'm going to do is take a plastic or rubber spatula, and I'm going to go along the sides of each jar. And this releases any air pockets, because you want those jars fairly packed full. There we go. And then if I can fit any more chicken in, I'm going to. You want about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, right in there, 1/2 inch headroom. And that's very important, that you don't overstuff your jars. Now the last thing you're going to do, or one of the last things you're going to do before you put the lids on, is you're going to take a clean cloth and run it around the rim of each jar. That's so if you've got any goobers on the side, it doesn't prevent your lids from sealing correctly. So you want to wipe them down really nicely along the rims. Now I'm ready to put my lids on, and I'm going to use a jar lifter, or lid lifter, excuse me, a little magnet in the end of a plastic stick, because that water's hot. And I'm just going to plunk it down there on each one. When you tighten your lids down, you don't want to over tighten it. Just doing what they call finger tight, like that. Okay, that's going to be fine. It's as tight as you need to do it. I have a small canner. I can only fit 8 pints or 7 quarts. I would advocate to you, if you have not purchased your canner yet, to buy a bigger one. At least get the one that you can double decker and put two layers of cans in. Okay, I've put my jars in here. My water is hot. I can still put my finger in it, and I don't want it, but it's hot, but I don't want it any warmer than that to set these cold jars in. And now you do them up. You do the 2 across from each other, and then these across from each other, and then those. You tighten them simultaneously, the ones that are across. Okay, the timer's gone off, so I'm going to put my weight on and end that venting. And I'm also going to turn down my burner, because I've learned that right about 5 or 4.5 is where I need to be. The pressure has not yet reached 10 or 11, but it's on its way. So if I don't get this burner down quite a bit, I'm going to go over 10 quite quickly. And you're going to learn all that on your particular stove and with the size canner you have, what you need to do. Okay, so I just got to wait till it gets up to 10 or 11, and then I'm going to set my timer for 75 minutes, and then we'll show you the finished product. Our 75 minutes of processing time is up, and I let the canner cool down with the pressure what goes all the way down to 0. And then it's safe to take your jars out. But as you can see, these are still bubbling away, and it will take them a couple hours where they aren't boiling in the jars. Looks like all the lids sealed. If you want to test it, after your jars cool all the way down, you can just lightly press on the lids. There should be no play in the lids whatsoever. They shouldn't press down at all. And if that's the case, then you know your jar's sealed well. If you do happen to have one that didn't seal, put it in your fridge, use it in a casserole. Some people do reprocess them. I wouldn't bother. Usually these little pint jars seal pretty well. I've only had one instance where my jar didn't seal. I don't know why, but it was a quart jar of beef stew. So we just ate it that night for supper. Now, a question you may have is, well, how long can you keep these in your pantry? And the books all recommend about a year, that you use them up within a year. That said, I wouldn't have any qualms about eating home canned meat up to 2 years. Especially if you can keep it in a cool, dark place. This is some chicken from last year, February of '09. This is the 5 designates it was my 5th batch of chicken. And we just ate some of this the other night. It was fine. And I did mention at the beginning of the video you can can beef the same way. Yeah, this is some corned beef that I raw packed and canned again from, this is March of '09. It's almost a year. And it may not look the most appetizing in here, little fat thing globule floating around, but it's basically the same as what you buy in the store, only you can see it. You know, the stuff in the store is in a can instead of a jar, and I guarantee you it tastes a lot better.